All right, guys, it's Jahlon, and it is time for the monthly Ashes of Creation update. We had a live stream on Friday. Now, normally you guys are used to me putting up the live stream and dissecting it piece by piece. This month, I'm going to do something a little different. It's the end of June. I'm going to do your mid-year 2021 Ashes of Creation update. I'm going to talk about the live stream specifically a little later in this video. So first and foremost, let's talk about Alpha 1 testing. Getting to open Alpha 1 testing without the NDA present is a huge milestone for Intrepid Studios. Everyone knows Intrepid is running late on the Ashes of Creation project. Unfortunately, once you are late, there's nothing you can do about it. I don't think anybody wants Intrepid to rush. I think there are some people who are criticizing Intrepid for opening up Alpha 1 sales earlier this year and then having to delay the NDA drop. The thing here is we're talking about two different factors. One factor is testing and the other is showcasing. So for anyone who is concerned that testing isn't taking place, I can tell you we have been doing some serious testing since February of this year. They decided recently to schedule testing on Fridays, and except for some shuffles due to build issues, we have been doing that. Now, we haven't been able to share any of that visually, but we have been doing the testing. Now, what really shocked me on Friday was the decision not to postpone the showcasing side of this. We can continue to test with the NDA in place. I figured they would have punted during the live stream to give themselves more time to build a product ready to be showcased by thousands of streamers. In my opinion, right now, the build is exactly where it should be for testing, but it is nowhere near where it needs to be a good marketing showcase. This has to do with a lot of things, the biggest being COVID-19. COVID-19 hurt a lot of major studios, so it's no surprise it hurt Intrepid as well. Also, Intrepid is moving into their new office, which they've been trying to do for a year. They're almost done. They ran into a little logistics issue with their furniture delivery. We also have the Ghost AI controller issue, and they are trying to implement the new combat system, including the new combat backend. These are just a few of the factors why I think they should delay this NDA drop. But on Friday, they were confident they're still going to make that date, and I hope to see you guys on 9 July while I'm streaming for the first round of testing. So let's talk about this Ghost AI controller issue. For those of you that don't understand what this is, a real quick and dirty explanation is, you get into a fight with a mob. You issue some commands because you want to use some abilities. The mob uses some abilities, so the server runs some commands. The mob dies, the mob drops loot, you scoop the loot, and you move on. The server at this point should flush all of those combat commands, basically recycle them, basically get them out of here. Unfortunately, for some reason, this isn't happening. McP talked about this last month during the live stream, and Intrepid has made some great progress on fixing the server issues, but they've acknowledged they are still having issues. The rubber banding isn't as bad as it has been in the past. In fact, I can't think of the last time I encountered serious rubber banding. I think it was on the Wednesday test, but I don't recall experiencing any on the later tests. But this is exactly what Alpha is for. Alpha is designed to find bugs and fix them before you build too much on top of bad systems. So if they need to delay the showcasing in order to fix the foundation, they absolutely should do that right now. We also got the new combat backend in this testing we did yesterday. Intrepid absolutely understands that combat touches every system in Ashes of Creation. So they are working hard to make sure combat is optimized, that it performs well, that it feels good, and that as player density increases, the performance doesn't degrade. Steven tried to talk about how targeting works for action and tab during the live stream, but I don't think that came across very well without the visuals. So what I'll tell you right now is tab players, the tab combat feels and works exactly how you'd expect a good tab combat game to function. The action combat is still in development. It has changed. It has started getting better. Now, I'm not an action combat person, but I will say so far, the action combat feels good enough that I might actually find myself maybe sort of trying to utilize that mode on a couple of the archetypes, but I would probably default back to tab for healing. Now, a big thing to remember about this combat revamp is that it's the first iteration. A lot of the stuff that they're doing right now is back end, so it's not going to have a forward facing change to the players. But we have seen a few changes to the combat. A few animations have changed. A couple of weapon animations have been smoothed out. And the big thing was we got to see the passives yesterday. Now I'm going to throw up the passives menu that we saw from the video, and I'm going to break down some things with it. Now please keep in mind, all of this is placeholder. I will remind everyone, my visual NDA does remain in place. However, using the footage from the 8-minute video, you saw the passives were showcased. And what I want to do is I want to move ahead and I want to just pull out the passives line. And if you look at the screen real quick, I'm going to black out 3 of the abilities because those each have a archetype specific passive. For the rest of these, they're the same as you go down the skill tree. So you have mana regeneration, and you guys know what mana regeneration is. If you take the passive, you regenerate more mana per second. Next row down, health regeneration, same sort of deal. They also have a critical hit rate ability, so that if you take that passive, you're going to get damaging and healing abilities to crit 5% more often. Next line down, you're going to have a maximum health increase and a defense mitigation increase. You'll notice that the values here aren't percentage based. The values here are flat rate. But the next line down, the other common shared ones, you're going to have a cooldown reduction of 5% or a movement speed of 5%. And this is really reflective of what Steven talks about, how they want skill choice to be meaningful. And by doing this, you're not going to have enough points to take every passive, but each of these passives really does change the core gameplay of your archetype. Now to jump back in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip where those dark lines are, and I want to talk about the specifics. Row 1, slot 1, for clerics, that is a increased healing ability, increases all healing done by 10%. For tanks, it's going to be an increased block chance by 20%, and we got a little note in that says blocked attacks deal 20% reduced damage. So this is not just the value of seeing this particular passive, but we're seeing some other combat mechanics in the clues. And then finally, mages, they get attack damage. They get a flat increase attack damage by 5. Now, I will question, and again, I want to remind everybody, everything here is placeholder. I do think there may be some disconnects here between the increased healing and the attack, but again, that's what testing is for. If we go to row 2, slot 1, for clerics, they would get increased mana. For tanks, they would get increased healing. And for mages, they will do 20% more critical damage. So if a mage manages to crit, they're going to do 20% more damage. Now, this also goes to the Q&A from Friday's live stream, where people asked, are there going to be niche abilities or niche stats, niche attributes? And you definitely are already starting to see some of those in the forms of passives. Finally, for our bottom row, row 4, slot 1, for clerics, this is going to be disable defense. This reduces the chance of being disabled by crowd control by 10%. For tanks, this is a physical evasion bonus, increase physical evasion bonus by 5%. And mages, this is disable chance, increases the chance to disable with crowd control effects by 15%. Again, you can see a little bit of a difference between what one's defensive ability gives them and what one's offensive ability gives them, but definitely can see that Intrepid is thinking through a good passive skill tree, and that's what Alpha is for. We will do all the refining, the testing, the data gathering for those numbers, so Intrepid is making the very best decisions. I will say that the castle siege testing is going very well. The new range on the trebuchets is an improvement. It forces the defenders to come out and they can't just long range attack people with the ballistas. I think we can all agree that Castle Sieges need to be the premier PvP event for guild versus guild combat, and that's why Intrepid is spending so much time getting combat data from this event. They can get the Castle Siege data and they can get combat data all at the same time, and I think Castle Sieges being refined and being ready for Alpha 1 is such an important fact, because I think the Castle Sieges is what's going to showcase very well on Twitch, on YouTube videos, because people are going to say, oh, this is what we have to look forward to in the end game, that end game. So I think that they should not drop the NDA until Castle Sieges are working and working very well. I do want to talk about the live stream today. I want to talk about how this live stream was a huge improvement over last month's. Last month's was a 2-hour live stream that only took 3 questions from the Q&A forum thread, and that turned out to be pretty bad. It was also rough when they threw in a 33-minute video. If you check my live stream recap from last month up there in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see I pulled out about 12 minutes of the good stuff. The thing here is that this month was a much better improvement. They had a short, concise 8-minute video, which was pretty good. They burned through a lot of the questions in that forum thread. Now, I know a lot of people get upset when they answer what the community calls repeat or boring or known questions. The thing is the live stream isn't just for the people that have been following Ashes since 2017. The live stream is for everybody. So for everybody that gets mad about these answers, remember, repeat questions do 2 things. Number 1, they allow the new people to sort of feel they're important as well. But number 2, they serve as milestone progress checks. If we get asked, or if Steven gets asked a question that he's been asked 8 times before and he gives a different answer, that may be the newest answer, the most up to date, and it might reflect a certain game design decision change. So the devil is in the details. Make sure that you don't get mad about those questions. Realize those questions serve their purpose too. I am really hoping they put the 8-minute video up on YouTube. As you can see, the other videos have performed really well. It's worth looking into that 8-minute video on this live stream recap. There are a lot of interesting things on it. But I will criticize the live stream on one thing that they keep doing, and Intrepid needs to stop doing this. Intrepid needs to stop doing things in their developer updates that the players won't be able to do. For a while, it was the overuse of flying mounts. There's only going to be around 20 flying mounts for 10,000 concurrent players, up to 15,000 players per server at launch, eventually up to 50,000 people assigned to a server. They kept showing off flying mounts and it was irritating people. Now they're doing this thing where they're mixing and matching cosmetics, and players won't be able to do that. Not only does that annoy people, but a lot of people are confused about how the monthly cosmetics are going to work. And if you've made a decision to not make the monthly cosmetics one piece, full body, then tell the players that. I guarantee you're going to sell a lot more monthly cosmetics if people know they'll be able to mix and match. But stop mixing and matching, because you're not being genuine to the players. And I know a lot of people have bought full body cosmetics thinking they can mix and match before these things were being showcased like this. Now it's just going to get worse. Finally, from the Q&A, there wasn't anything earth-shattering, but I do want to go over a couple of important ones. One is for skills. When you augment a skill from your secondary archetype, you won't have to pick one school. You will pick per ability. Another important one was from bounty hunting. Right now, when bounty hunters are hunting corrupted, only the bounty hunter who gets the last hit will get credit for the corrupted kill. However, Steven hinted that they may change this so that any contributing damage would get credit for the kill. Now, this is a great thing, not just for the bounty hunter and the corrupted sort of quasi-faction war that develops, but this is a great thing for the corruption system. Because if they are developing the technology for last or all contributing damage gets credit for the kill, then this fixes the problem of the dedicated ganker in corruption, where only one person will deliver the death blows, and so one person gets all the corruption while a number of people go out griefing. If they develop the technology for the bounty hunter system, they can use that same technology to fix the current flaw in the corruption system. We did find out that the corrupted areas of the world while they won't infect the players with corruption, if the corruption spreads and the players don't actively battle that spread, it can reduce the services available at local nodes. So that's just another one of those things that makes players engaged with their node and want to make sure that you defend your home. Finally, we found out that dual wielding is going to have its own XP skill progression tree. This was sort of a passing comment, so I don't want to get anybody's like hopes up about what this could mean. But it is going to be something we're waiting for when Intrepid finally discloses what goes in on this last side of the weapon skill part of the skill tree. And that is it for today, guys. I wanted to give you like your mid-year 2021 recap. I know a lot of people have a lot of questions. You can leave questions in the comments below. If you don't follow my channel, make sure you take this opportunity, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell. Everybody needs to ring the bell. I think like 6% of you have rung the bell. Ring the bell. If you have a question, you can ask it in the comments below. I'll try to answer it. If you want to swing by my Twitch show, I do stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. You can stop by then, ask a question live. If you need to find me, I'm on the official Discord. I am Jahlon #0001. Find me anywhere. Send me an email. Send me a smoke signal. Send me a tweet. Find me if you have a question. I'm more than happy to answer it. If you haven't already registered for Ashes of Creation, there's a nifty little registration link in the description below. Click on that. It helps me out. It will pay for more smooth jazz. If you guys aren't aware, I have a second YouTube channel called PGN Music, a bunch of DMCA free music for you. I have a third YouTube channel called Jahlon On if you want to hear my rantings and ravings on different topics in the world. Until next time, guys, you take care. I'm here as your Ashes of Creation resource, and if I'm not around, make sure you check out Ashes 101. It's sort of an educational textbook lecture series, and then it dials in with the wiki so you can find what you're looking for. I will see you guys next time.
I say, Sprocket, we've reached the end of another video. Time to thank the sponsors. Yes, that will do, that will do. Shall we pop off for a spot of tea?